In Summoner's War, in the notices section, there are 2 different notices outlining a conversation between one of the top Korean guilds and Come to Us representatives, right? There are 2 different notices. There are a lot of text. At first, when I saw it, I went to the page, I saw it, I scrolled down to see how long it was. I said, oh my God, I don't want to read this. And I exited. I said, I'm going to read this later. I exited it out. And I'm sure many of you, some of you probably already read it, right? I'm sure some of you already, at least a handful of you have already read it, know exactly everything about it. You probably don't need this video because you already know everything I'm going to say. But for many of you, you may have seen this massive wall of text and said, I don't know if this is going to be anything I care about. I don't care about a conversation between Come to Us and Korean guilds. Maybe I'll wait for a TLDR from a YouTuber that decides to do a TLDR on it, and I'll find all the juicy parts. Well, this is the TLDR on it. These are the juicy parts. Again, if you've already read it, if you already know what I'm going to say, then you probably don't need this video. I just wanted to basically give this synopsis to the people that did not want to read all like pages and pages of text. So instead, I'm just going to do a 45-minute video, twice as long as the actual it would have actually taken to read the pages of text. Anyway, let's get it started. I did write some TLDRs after every few things. So the blue here is the Q, is the question from the guild representative, and then the answer is from Come to Us. So basically, the first question is Come to Us. The TLDR is Come to Us has been effing up a lot lately, and then they also questioned some of the re-app probabilities, which I didn't even know people were starting to question at this point. I just assumed people were like, oh, it is what it is, bad RNG, right? And then the answer is apologizing about the re-apps and whatever, or not the re-apps, apologizing about all the F-ups, explaining that re-apps are all equal probability. They don't modify probabilities to make it harder for anything. They don't need to. It's a naturally small chance. They don't need to actually make it harder to get speed. It's already a very low chance. That's why you try to hunt for innates. When you re-app things, you try to get legendary with innates because that's going to make it at least less painful. Not good to get what you want, which is usually speed, but just less painful to try to get the stats that you're looking for, which is always speed. So yeah, it's just a really bad chance to get what you want anyway. They don't have to modify it. Trust me, it's already bad enough. So next one is the question is basically unclear what balance patches will happen. They talk about the balance patch cycle as a problem. Current cycle is too long. The schedule is not clear. Here's the thing. They're not actually going to change the cycle. Their answer was not they're going to change the cycle. Their answer is basically what it's already been, right? Unclear when the balance patches will happen. The answer is, as they've already mentioned, which I've even mentioned on that channel, right? It's usually in between RTA seasons. That's what they had said that they wanted to do a long time ago, like a year ago, and that's how it's been going. Usually in between RTA seasons. They're going to do it in between RTA and Guild Siege seasons so that it's, everything ends, and then in the downtime in between, and they've been doing this. Honestly, I feel like this is a question that's for people that don't watch this channel, they don't understand, but if you watch the channel, you already know this, right? Unless there are other circumstances which will prevent it, like SWC or things like that, right? Balance patch every 3 months commitment, which they're giving, but it's already a thing. Also, my head is in front of some stuff, so if you guys need to see it, I'm going to say it anyway, but if you guys need to see it, there it is. Next question is that they're upset with that balance patches revolve around mostly RTA, want more siege-focused balance and updates. This is funny because there's, it's one of the top guilds on the Korea server. Of course, they want more guild content updates. One of the leaders of the guild would, of course, want things revolving around guild stuff. So then their answer to this is they want to make future balance patches about more than just RTA, considering updating siege towers with additional conditions, come to us learning more about siege meta that they did not know before, which is nice but scary at the same time. You should be paying attention. They're not paying attention. I'm kind of some of these questions, though. I was reading through some of these questions, and I'm like, some of these sound like Come to Us wanted them to ask this question. They're like, ask this one next. We have a good answer for this. So it's like, what? But yeah, I mean, some of these I'm kind of on Come to Us' side, and some of these I'm not on Come to Us' side. I'm just trying to try to evaluate all of them, right? So anyway. So this is all from the first little note, these 4 things, right? The first 4 that I'm going to show you. This next one is more angriness, demanding things based on the Fire Onimusha. The users who have updated Fire Onimusha, the deprivation is too big. Compensation given to all from the first balance modification notice, which we already went through all of this stuff because they already, you know, this was already in the game. We already discussed this in a previous video of the refunds that they've given for the Fire Onimusha. You guys have already seen it already, I'm sure. Even if you didn't see the video, you guys have already seen the refunds and things like that. Next question is, this incident should never happen in the future. It's impossible, etc., etc. More angriness, demanding impossible things, right? Things, I mean, sometimes things just come out unbalanced. I know we don't, like, how dare they, but so you can't, nothing can be perfect, right? There's nothing that's perfect. I'm not perfect. You guys aren't perfect. I'm sorry. I was going to say you guys are perfect. You're clearly perfect. You're the best. But a lot of times in life, nothing is perfect. So while they may try to make things perfect, nothing is perfect. The answer was considering changing Summoner's War structurally so that changes can be made without iOS, Android, etc. updates. They want to push out updates quicker and can happen more quickly. They also said something which I didn't mention in the TLDR, but now I'm going to go on another 10-minute rant. They said something about like limiting the use of the monster. If a monster is too strong, too OP when it first comes out, to encode, like block the monster from being used in content until it gets changed, right? So like you can't use it in RTA or Siege or anything, or if it's like grayed out, kind of like how the homunculus is grayed out. To like, oh, is a monster broken? While we're working on fixing it, let's like gray it out so they can't use it in this content. Again, just like the homunculus is kind of already doing. So where you can't use homunculus in defense, you can't use homunculus in, you can use it for offense for things, but you can't use it in defense and you can't use it for siege because no one knows the actual skills on the unit, so they don't know how to counter it if they don't know what it does. So yeah, but even though the artifacts already have kind of those, artifacts just modify the existing unit though. People still know what the unit does. But anyway, yeah, we kind of went over all this. This was the older note, the first one. Okay, so this next question is people upset about the Kaki nerf, feels it was not tested. Did I put these? I think I put these opposite. I'm gonna have to edit this. Let me just double check the second note before we'll do a little edit. Understand, Comptos wants to release new monsters in new and attractive style. However, many of us think this is basically just people being upset about the Kaki nerf, feels it was not tested enough beforehand. The answer from Comptos is that they just admitted Kaki was bad when they first tested it, so they made him better, but they overdid it, right? Because he was too bad, and like he needed a buff when they first made him. They're not trying to make two OP monsters and nerf them. They tried to make him balanced when they were building him, and they thought that they did, but they actually made him too good, right? But they thought that they made him balanced when he came out. Next question is people basically being upset about the nerf. They're planning to use Kaki in the Siege tournament, and then they're just apologizing again. They tried to fix ASAP. They wanted to respect the user efforts, preparing for the Siege tournament instead of having a brand new unit dominate the Siege tournament. People feeling like they have to try to summon to get that new unit ASAP because he's dominating the Siege tournament, right? So they were trying to like not discredit the user's previous work of building that, and bad timing, etc., etc., etc. Let me just double check to make sure that these are in the right order, the next ones. This next part is from a different note. It's the same conversation between Top Guild and Com2us reps, but it's a different note. It's less about the Kaki nerf and, you know, demanding compensation for that, and more about things that, you know, things for the future of Summoner's War, right? So they wanted to do the Kaki nerf note first, and then a couple days later they released this part. Again, it's the same discussion, it's just the second part of it, which is about different things and not Kaki, but they just wanted to do the Kaki stuff as soon as possible. So let's get it started. First question from them is basically siege battle improvement suggestions, bases with conditions like TOA hard. We do already have bases with conditions of 4-star units only, but they're also suggesting conditions that maybe have, you know how TOA hard has, or sorry, not TOA hard, TOA hell has conditions of like, oh, you can't use attack gauge reduction or attack gauge increase or something like that. You can't use, can't increase cooldowns, whatever the conditions for each level, because they change on each level, right? So different siege bases that have different conditions for units that you can use. So Comptos' answer was that they're considering it, and they didn't know that endgame guilds would be interested. Apparently, they were already thinking about this. Next question. There you go for that if you guys wanted to take a look at it. I'm just going to say it anyway. Next question is basically sums up to be wants better rewards from siege content to motivate people to play seriously and not siege farm. So they want to motivate people to be competitive in siege and not farm for free crystals. Here's the thing though, which I don't think a lot of high-level guilds realize, is that not everyone wants to do high-level competitive guild siege. Most people, I would say, do not want to do high-level competitive guild siege. That's why they don't do it. They're just like, yeah, I want rewards because my favorite part is summoning, because Summoner's War is basically Pokemon 2.0. We're all thinking it, right? Most of us are thinking it. Some people are like, no, it's competitive esports. And then 90% of us are like, no, it's Pokemon 2.0. So yeah, and then Comptos' response is doing siege prediction event for next season, kind of like how they did the RTA prediction event. Just look at whoever's like the current rank 1, 2, 3, 4, and just pick those as the next rank 1, 2. It's really not rocket science. For the most part, you'll be right most of the time, because that's how they got there in the first place. So yeah, anyway, they're doing siege prediction event next season, adding transmog rewards for siege. So that's kind of interesting to have, because they have basically kind of like a transmog already for the arena, for the siege battle arena. I mean, not the arena. They have the what is it actually called? The little arena skin, which I thought was a great idea actually, but apparently it only does it for one season. And then they have the entrance effects as well, right? So you have your little blasty things that you get when you enter PvP things. So yeah, they're going to be adding actual transmog, like monster transmogs for siege seasons, and then they're discussing more. They're discussing more future rewards for different siege things. And then we have the next one. So this next one is, oh Jesus. Next question is changing guild battle start times request and allowing members to attack even after. Oh, they wanted to have members able to attack after it ends, because they're like, it's supposed to be aggressive, where like as soon as the siege battle starts, there's a lot of siege battle stuff here. Surprise, surprise, they're talking with someone from a high-level competitive guild that does high-level competitive siege, and then that's what the conversation is gonna revolve around. Is, you know, this is like a leader, I guess, from a Korea, like one of the better Korean guilds. So of course this is gonna, you know, everything on his mind is gonna be like guild siege management, guild siege battles, guild siege, and screw RTA. But it's because I'm focused on leading a top Korean guild, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's siege focused here, and there's very little in like regular arena and about like next 2 ways or things like that. He didn't care about that to ask. They didn't really take a great sample size of like all these different people from different regions and different countries and the different levels of the game. They're like, nope, just high-level siege person. That's who we're going to ask. High-level Korean guild siege players. So anyway, yeah, changing guild battle start times. I think people are already used to it at this point. But I could see that sometimes maybe nicer. But there's never going to be a time that works for everyone, right? So they wanted to change the guild battle siege start times and allow members to attack even after it ends. Comptro said they'll continue changing. They'll consider changing start times if more users feel a different time is better. But that's basically about it. Like, a lot of the stuff is kind of fluff. It's basically like a Jubagel video. I mean, next question. Goodwill battle for siege and somehow saying it's good for streamers, which makes no sense. They want to do like Goodwill battle for siege, like where you can fight other guild siege, like you can fight other guilds from different servers in like a Goodwill battle. And I'm like, this is not like, should we even be focused on this? This is kind of just nonsense. We don't need this. Do we need this? I don't think we need this. I don't think we... this is gonna, like, 1% of the Summoners War population is like, I would love that. And then the other 99%, I feel, is like, really want to do, like, schedule another guild siege just for funsies and make your whole guild do it just for funsies with nothing, for no reason. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't see a point in that. I don't see why that's even a thing that we need to do. And then the answer is we will reconsider this. And that's my little note there, is I honestly don't see why this needs to be a thing. I think it's just a dumb suggestion, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, so, take it for what it is. Next question was increase the guild leader's vice amount, which is nice to add maybe 1 or 2 more vices, right? Check guild members' contribution more. Every guild leader always wants this. Like, I want to see who's doing what. And then they said increase confirmed, which actually was one of the actual only things that they confirmed in this whole thing, is like they're saying like, oh yeah, we will increase the number of guild leaders. Just flat out, they said it. And considering other suggestions, right? So, and then they talk briefly in like across like all of those other ones about like different guild rewards and things like that, just increasing guild rewards. In general, extra megaphones or whatever for guild leaders or whatever. So the next one, more guild stuff, guys. More guild stuff. You're like, good. I was right to not read this whole thing. Guild leave join issues of losing teams midweek. Like if you're in a competitive guild and like someone leaves midweek and then like you're down you're down some teams that you needed for defenses. And then Comto's answer was basically nothing. They will announce Siege Battle and RTA closing earlier in the future, which is kind of nice. Doesn't actually address the issue. There's a decent amount of those responses where it's just filler, and they're like, we want you to understand that nonsense. No actual answer. Yeah, so really, the next question... that's what I got out of it. The next question is guild family matching up in Siege. So, like, for example, I'm just going to throw out an example. I'm not saying this happens all the time or happen. I don't know how often it happens. Whatever. Let's say, for those of you that are in Global, you're familiar with SSA and Swag. Those 2 guilds. Like, just guilds people know, right? Let's say SSA and Swag, or like an Epic Fail guilds, right? Because Epic Fail has a decent amount of guilds. There's a few guilds that are like guild families, right? So they're talking about guild family matching up in Siege, how it could potentially be an issue, and if there can be any changes to it. And then Comtos has basically said no change. They're discussing things, which just means like F you. When they're just discussing things internally, it just generally means F you. Like, no, we're not going to do that. We'll say we're discussing it just to get you to shut up because you think you win. But we're not going to actually do it. I feel like more often than not, that's actually what they mean. So the next question is asking for advanced calculations for battle conditions like attack bar, accuracy, resistance, etc. That's kind of like an end game thing. That's the thing that not necessarily everyone is interested in. Some of you guys are very interested in it. I know you're very interested in it. You want to know all the data of all the numbers. I like to know numbers too. I just know that most people are not, super interested in like all the data. Because it's not just talking about attack bar and stuff like that. Like, we know attack bar, but it's talking about like more extensive information on the math involved. Which is nice to know, but they're like, why you make us do this and then post it on Reddit? Do the calculations ourselves. You should have all the calculations in the game. I think kind of on this topic is I would like some more in-depth information on in the game so that everyone can see it on how the artifacts work and how all the different artifact stuff is applied and calculated in depth. I think that would be the thing, because there's a lot of artifact stuff that it's like, we kind of have to figure out as a community, and it's not in the game. So if you're not hanging out on Reddit or watching a lot of YouTube videos, and you're just play the game like at work, whatever, on the side, you don't know these things because the information is not in the game. You're like, I don't know how this works. Don't really have the time to go check Reddit and YouTube. I just don't know, right? So I think that should be the bigger thing than what they're actually asking for here. It's not bad. It's just I feel like it may overwhelm people more. more information is not necessarily worse. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but and then Comtois just fluffed it out. Basically, it was another non-answer. I appreciate the question. When I was a child in Bulgaria, some of you guys get that joke, but yeah, it really wasn't an answer. Again, I said they do a lot of this stuff where they don't actually give an answer. They're like, you know what the actual answer probably is that we don't know the calculations, or we're scared of you finding out what the calculations actually are, because then you guys are going to be even more pissed. That's probably what it is they're scared that if we find how things are actually calculated, we'll find out that it's wrong and we'll be pissed off about it. Does anyone else feel the same way as I do? That's how I feel. When they're like, we're not going to tell you the calculations, we're going to give you like just a runaround response. So this next one is a question about essence disassembly, which we've been asking for a while. And Rift Beast crystal quantity. Because people are like, oh, I can't get these crystals from Rift Beast. I have so many of these other crystals, but very few of these crystals that I need for this thing. But a lot of extra crystals for this thing, right? So talk about essence disassembly and Rift Beast crystal quantity improvements to that. The answer was absolutely... Oh, it was an absolutely stupid explanation, and the devs are completely detached from how the users actually play the game, because they're like, we don't want to do disassembly, and we don't want to do any of this because we want people to be excited when they get the things that they're looking for. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's not that we're very excited when we get mid-essences. We're more like, effing final, I keep getting the crap ones, and I hate this game. That's more of what the actual emotions actually are. They don't realize that that's the actual emotions. They just have imaginary emotions that they think that we feel. Half this stuff is they're like, well, we'll get to that later, but a lot of times they're like, we want people to be emotionally this and that. We want people to have happy emotions when they get the thing that they want, or this that they need, or this or that. And really it is, anytime they use like the emotional stuff, it's like addiction triggers. Like, we want to still stick these addiction triggers as many places as possible to get you very emotionally addicted to the different things in the game. And most people at this point are not getting emotionally, having emotional highs and lows. It's mostly just pissed off. That's what it is at this point. It's just years of this nonsense. And people are like, this is not emotionally happy when runes power up. I'm just like, oh, is there a rune that I need to power, or whatever, throwing things. Is there a rune that I need to power up? Cool, I'll click the button and put the tablet on the side of the desk and go play another game or leave the room. That's what is the emotional connection if the person leaves the effing room. Come to us. They're not watching this. They don't care. I'm not Korean. So, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to say whatever's on my mind. But yeah, this is just finally updating Essence Disassembly reluctantly. They don't want to, but they're working on it now. Still figuring out what to do with Rift Crystal situation, which probably means nothing. Next one, asking about rune power-up changes in speed. Another thing, kind of already talked about this, completely changed the subject to talk about crit animation. Yeah, because there was questions about, like, can we have runes power up faster? So basically using emotion as an addiction mechanic. That's what I basically just said. Trying to not outright admit they're abusing emotional triggers, even though they don't effing realize we don't look at the effing screen anyway. Modifying to make it slightly faster for most of the power-ups, which is, not bad. And put other emotional addiction triggers at 3, 6, 9, and 12. So, yeah. So they're gonna change it where some of it is faster, but they're gonna try to get you more. They're gonna put more psychological triggers in. Fantastic. I can't wait. I'm not gonna lie about this stuff. That's what they're doing. That's what all this stuff, this the Korean meta in these games, in MMORPGs too. They do this, like, highs and lows of, like, does it upgrade? Does it not upgrade? Does the equipment break when you try to upgrade it? Uh-oh. Like, that's all psychological manipulation. So, I'm just telling like it is, guys. I'm just telling like it is. More giant paragraphs of text. Hard to get new... Oh, this is about new users, right? Hard to get new users. Hard for new users to progress. Decrease challenges for new Oh, and then they're asking, should we decrease the challenges for new users to catch up? Like, for example, making it easier to upgrade glory towers and things like that. And then the response was fluff, long-winded explanation of no, they aren't changing things because then new players would appreciate them less. Although they did mention that they improved they did have the arena end of week rewards where you get like extra glory points, which is kind of an improvement to try to get new players some extra glory points to upgrade their towers more, right? So that was they actually did already do something to try to help new players catch up. So yeah, but basically, yeah, this is kind of like they like to say this kind of thing. Long-winded explanation of no, they aren't changing things. They don't want people to not appreciate things. They want people to have emotional responses to. And then this next question was suggesting changing the new missions to Few Sigmaris instead of Vero because Sigmaris is more relevant and Veramos is not as relevant as he used to be, right? Like back in the old days of Vero, Bella, Vertiheel, Vero, Bella, and then +2 for dragons, right? Like Megan and Spectra or whatever. And that's not the meta anymore, right? So it's more useful to have Sigmaris instead of Vero, which is what they're pointing out. And then Comptos was talking about buffing Veramos and how they're going to consider how they want to buff Veramos, though. So yeah, that's something to take away from that, is they're looking at Veramos buffs. Next one, let's go here. Next question, basically, question about they will be using the SP summon button. Oh, I put the question and the answer into one statement. They'll be using the SP summon button in the future with release of new characters because it's hard to get new units, right? So that's the question and the answer. This next one was something that most people don't care about. It'd be cool for me, but I understand that it would never be a priority because it's for most people, they don't really care about it. It really does not impact most people. People in the top few hundred in RTA and Arena are impacted by it, and YouTubers. These are the only people that are really affected by it. Blind user nicknames in RTA and Arena, so you can't see who you're hitting, so you don't know what they have, et cetera, especially the people that have LDs would love this, like really powerful LDs, like game-breaking LDs or like specific team comps that are non-meta as well would love this for RTA. And then Arena would actually, it would change things because in Arena, if you had that in Arena, you would have different people getting Legend because they would just be hitting their guildmates and whatever. Like if the names were blind and they were just X'd out, you just hit whoever. So people that are getting Legend all the time are going to be hit more because they're going to be hit by their guildmates. They're going to be like, oh, whoops. Guildmates hit me, knocked me down. I mean, they would not know, but they'd be like, I'm getting hit a lot more than usual. So yeah, that would definitely change. That would make it more fair, but they're not going to do it for that. And it also, it helps me, but it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what I want or what YouTubers want because YouTubers are not the majority of the player base. Honestly, we're not that important in the as far as making changes to the game. We're not that important. I'm just going to be honest, right? And then the last one is plans to fix the botting in the World Arena. And they're trying to identify and block macro programs, so really a political answer for no. Also, they mentioned as the number of World Arena users has increased recently. Has it, though? Actually, it has. This season, it actually has, because there's things to gain, right? We're actually getting points, so people are more interested in actually playing just for those points for the achievements. So that actually, this season, there is actually more. And then, yeah, they're just trying to identify and block macro, but they want the bots in Arena. That's kind of, or in RTA, World Arena. That's kind of the thing is like, the bots are bodies to match up, not bodies, but the bots are more accounts in the queue to match up with, right? So it's faster matching the more bots are playing alongside humans. If all those bots were not in there, it'd be like maybe half. I mean, consider that maybe actually half the amount of players in RTA in fighter levels. So you would not like there'd be like double the queue times. Well, maybe not double the queue times, but it'd be longer queue times. It'd be harder to queue. There would be also more queuing. Possibly, I don't want to like say that this is definitely going to be the case, but maybe more queuing in places very far away, which may be, more disconnections and more connection issues. So, yeah, but they're not planning to really do much about the botting in World Arena. Sorry. And then this is more about the restricting macro users, aka bots. And they said hard to detect macros since they can't see the other software on your phone, but they take action when it's very obvious only. Right, so again, not really doing too much about the macros. That's not really their focus. They can't really, according to them, they can't really do too much about it unless they know for sure, right? And then the next question: hard to get gems, grindstones for ancient runes, which is something I've been saying a lot. I'm like, ancient runes are nice, but we farm for the ancient runes, and then in the Dimension Predator stuff, like, great, you get a good rune from Dimension Predator, and like, it's basically just ungrinded. You basically just use it ungrinded because you have to get the grinds for it, and you only have a limited amount of energy, and you can't just like farm for grinds. So they're considering making a drop rate adjustment plan and discussed crafting for gems and grinds, which is interesting. And then this one, something about this is nothing. This is the dimension hole. Why did you decide to make crystals where you could refresh dimension energy? Like, why not? I don't know. Why is that a thing? This is a filler question, in my opinion. So another thing, bundle sell feature in the next update for gems and grinds. This next question. Not enough notices. Oh yeah, they're complaining that there's not enough notices for package sales. I'm like, really? You want more advertisements for package? I don't know, man. This is why it seems like they were like, ask us this, because we got a good answer for that. Well, we're putting more advertisements in the game for more in-app purchases because you guys requested it. See, look at the thing that we did with the question and answer with one of the top Korean guilds. You guys requested it. I don't know about that. I don't know about that question, right? So anyway, yeah. What is this? Oh, update World Boss. So the question was about World Boss has plans to show other attributes in the beginning, and there was other attributes. And they said it's not their priority. They're going to, but they focused. It got focused to other things. And then they don't know what they're going to. What do they not know about what they're going to do about what? Oh, arena changes. Whether we should make arena essential content that people must play, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, but really no, just no changes to World Boss and Arena, because we don't care about Arena. We don't care about regular Arena is not important. RTA, why RTA? RTA because people will spend more money for packs for RTA, for summons for RTA, for re-apps for RTA. Regular Arena, it's too easy for free-to-play players, guys. It's too easy for free-to-play players. We don't want to focus on that anymore. This one was an interesting one. Can you turn off the same rival dialogue every day after 7 years? Like the arena rivals, right? Where like you go to the arena rival and then they pop up the dialogue, which we've seen thousands of times over the course of years. And basically, hold on. The answer was you'll meet arena rivals someday elsewhere. We're producing various contents using the Summoners War brand, so we hope our users become familiar with these characters more. So no, you don't care. Like what? That's the answer? Like we know what they effing say. We know what they say. It's been years. We know what they say. We want you to be super familiar with them. We're not listening. We're just clicking through it. Do they think that we're paying attention to this? You ask me what the guy in the arena is. His name is Vol something. Is it Volva? Is it Voldemort? I don't know what it is. It's I don't know. Voltron is one of those. I don't know what the other one is. The other arena dudes. I don't know. I don't know what their names are. I just click through them. I don't care. It's the same dialogue. I don't even care. Anyway, this is not the last question. Okay, we have one more slide. Changing secret dungeons to make it easier to open more people in, and they basically said no change. I feel like I made this longer than the initial notes were. I apologize. Just trying to go through all this stuff, but I get lost on a tangent. And then the next one, considering report. Oh, yeah, this is interesting. This is nice if they actually add. This is like so late of doing this. Do you plan on adding a function where users can report another user directly in the chat or permanently block one? So they're considering report, permablock, and list management functions for like who's on your block list and if you want to take them off and stuff like that, right? So this is something that should have been done 7 years ago. 6 years ago, after they took like 6 months plus of realizing that there were issues with it, right? Would have been great. So yeah, and then the monster debate system. So monster debate system overhaul. Thought about it, don't know how to fix. Probably will do nothing, don't care. Like, here's the thing. They even mentioned just a dislike button. Will it work as intended when a feature such as dislike is introduced? Yeah, just do that. Because there's a bunch of people saying, like if you want one, and then people will click the like button, and double tap the like button, and then you'll definitely get one. And then they just go to the top, and then it's nonsense reviews. Or how about this? How people can't people can't even review something if it's not built, if it's not fully built. You have to have runes, you have to have it awakened, you have to have it fully skilled up, and 6-starred. 6-starred max level, runed, awakened, skilled up, everything, right? Doesn't have to have great runes. Could have 5-star runes, doesn't matter. But it has to have runes. Has to have runes, awakened, skilled up, 6-star, max. And then you can review and say what your opinion on it is. Not like, oh, this is garbage. Has it unawakened at 4 stars in storage. Not skilled up, not ruined, nothing. They know it's garbage because Jesus told them. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how they know magically that it's garbage if they never used it in their life, right? So, I don't know. Probably will do nothing, don't care. And then this is basically the wrap-up of, we apologize for not being able to give satisfactory answers. So yeah, trying to make the game better equals we've moved on to, this is my interpretation of it, we've moved on to other stuff. Summoners were Lost Centura, Summoners were Crystal Guardians. Forgot this was still our game. That's me wrapping it up. We've moved on to other stuff and forgot this was still our game. That's what I interpret it as. So anyway, I'm very toxic. I apologize. I apologize for not being able to give you guys a satisfactory video today, even though it is my duty as a YouTuber to be able to provide clear answers. I am deeply contemplating how I should improve my videos by going over the conversation I have with you guys every day. I'm just trying to modify their answer. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for this one. I wanted to make this fast. It's 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes. I tried to make this fast, guys. In my mind, this was going to be a 10-minute video. It never works like that, does it? Anyway, I deeply apologize for not making a 10-minute video and somehow, again, making a 40-minute video because that's what I always do. Anyway, that's it for this one. I will see you guys. I really am sorry this was not 10 minutes. I will see you guys always in the next one.